can't believe what I just did.
It's the menopause.
It could be menopause. This is a very special episode with me and my bestie, my real bestie, Laurie. And we just recorded a whole episode together and I forgot to hit the record button. I'm still late perimenopause.
Deep.
Darn it. Okay. We're going to do this all over again. And
You pressed record.
I is on record. Look, it says a little recording right there. But the problem is she knows all the questions now because this episode is about sharing all the best things that happen in menopause. And I decided to do this instead of a solo episode yesterday. I called up Laurie and I said, hey, would you like to come and do an episode with me together about all the best things about menopause? And what did you say?
Not really, because there aren't many good things about menopause. But she's now going to remind us that there are great things about menopause.
There are. We're going to run through my list, which Laurie already knows because it was supposed to be a surprise, but we're going to go through it again. And I think you guys will maybe be surprised as well when we discuss some of these things together. So just to people, actually, I should introduce a little bit more about you. You and I have met probably about 20 years ago in Spain, I would say, more or less.
School.
Yeah, in school.
Yeah.
Kitties. It's our kitties. And you're from the UK. You're 57, post-menopause, and I'm 54, very, very late perimenopause. And I mentioned that I had hip surgery and my period stopped. And it's been, I guess, 8 weeks now without my period. You are now post. So that's it. And you said also that
when I was sick about 12 years ago, and after my surgery, my period stopped after that.
So interesting. Yeah. And it never came back.
No, I don't think so. But then it was a bit of a blur time. It never ever came back properly again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, let's jump into this because this is going to be fun. We're going to talk about after interviewing over 200 women on the street, asking them about menopause. I often say, what is the best thing about menopause? So I get two of the biggest answers is there anything good about menopause? And the other answer I get very often is, oh, well, no more periods, right? No more tampons to worry about, no more bleeding in the middle of nowhere.
It's got to be the best thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to calculate anything. You haven't got to make sure you're stocked up on anything. You can wear what you want.
Yes, we can wear white again.
Yeah, without thinking about it.
Yeah.
No more bloating in that sense.
Yeah, that's another good point. Yeah, and we could save all that money that we save on tampons and pads and
fabulous
things. Yeah. Yes, we can use that money somewhere else. So that's number one. I think across the board, most women would agree with that. And the second thing that happens that's great about menopause, and when we say menopause, it's kind of this all-encompassing word. People often refer to it as the perimenopause experience or the transition into menopause or post-menopause. So, I'm thinking more about post-menopause, like once we get to the other side. And pain relief is one of those where a lot of women will say, gosh, I suffered so bad with PMS, gone, or I had endometriosis, or my fibroids I was worried about that. And when you get closer to menopause, then those things go away, or they tend to shrink and they're much better. And sometimes women who had joint pain, that goes away as well. So what do you think?
Yeah, I don't really remember that because it seems a long time ago, but I guess, yeah. If I put it down to, I see my daughter now and she has really painful periods. Mm-hmm. I think I did when I was her age, but I don't remember much of that now.
Yeah, I was one of those cases. I had very light periods. It never really bothered me. I was okay with it.
Yeah, I remember a couple of days of every month being pretty hellish.
Yeah, I think most women do. So you can be happy. You'll be free of that. That's a good thing. And then the other really interesting thing, we have this one tied into a lot of the other ones that I'll be talking about, is we tend to become more empowered and we don't take any more BS. We just don't have patience anymore for the little things. And that I think happens as well in perimenopause. The hormones are fluctuating. I remember the first time I had something like come out of my mouth that was pretty bold and I wasn't like me. I was a bit more of a people pleaser and afraid to rock the boat. I was like, ooh, what's that? And maybe that's my hormones talking. And then
the hormones fault.
Yes, yes. And so that's like, I think I'm going to keep that because I think it's
going to have someone to blame for those occasional moments. I must have had a spike in my hormones. Sorry, darling.
Yeah, but when you get post-menopause, what are we going to say?
That's what I mean. They must have had a spike. They must have just something reappeared.
My ovary must have just spurt out. We just had the last little bit come out. I feel like I could use my voice. I'm finding my voice now. I feel like just more focusing on what matters and then using my voice, feeling more confident in that sense.
I wonder whether it's just that I think hormones send you all over the place. You've got so many stages throughout the month, where they're sort of settled and then they peak just before you're going to ovulate, before you're going. I mean, we're mad for years.
Yeah.
Quite mad.
Yeah.
So that our thoughts are not calm and collected. I mean, I certainly wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So now I feel much calmer than when I was younger.
Yeah.
I think it's a hormonal thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, I don't really know the research on it, but it certainly makes sense.
It's the post-menopause.
Yeah.
That's one of the benefits. Yes. You found another one. Absolutely. And when I interview women, or even just on the podcast, some of my guests, if they're in their 60s, they are so excited for me. They're like, it's so good on the other side. You're going to love it. It's going to be the best years of your life. And I think they realize what we're all going through. And then when they get to the other side, they're like, wow, this is just amazing. So maybe sometimes going through the shit and having this experience makes us appreciate stability even more.
Yeah. I think we just don't think about these things until we're in that stage.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, we never thought about menopause when we weren't in the menopause.
Yeah.
So it's all about stages in life.
Yeah.
What's coming.
Yeah. So another good thing post-menopause is no more mood swings. Not everybody suffers from mood swings, right? I don't know if you did, but.
Well, I didn't think I did, but I'm sure the people in my household were something differently. And I was absolutely perfect the whole time. I don't know, maybe you should bring my husband in the book.
Let's see what he says.
Different take on things.
I would say that
you should do a husband's post, podcast.
Maybe we should.
Post.
I should.
They'd be quite as open as us. But,
well, I always tell my husband, I was like, you are so lucky. Like, I think I'm just very, very have this under control. I think I'm doing really well, but he seems to think otherwise. Like, I think he doesn't like me using my voice.
Always going to have different opinions, hormones or no hormones. Men and women are going to differ in their opinions on things.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yes, no more mood swings, more emotional stability, more peace, more calm, like you said. I think menopause is also a time that we can reinvent ourselves. So if you've had kids at home and if they are free and flown the coop and you have more time to look within, to work on your own personal health, maybe you're ready to quit that job and start a new business. Maybe you're ready to write that book or travel the world. This is really your time of self-discovery. And I think that's really, really empowering. And I think something to really look forward to in menopause. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, again, it depends on when you go into menopause. some people go really early. And that's when they probably pass a really tough time because they're probably still in the thick of, quite young kids.
Yeah.
Well, so if you're going into it late, then you can, like you said, feel free and like a new chapter.
You're right.
It really depends when you go in. And I'm sure if somebody goes into the menopause really early, I'm sure it's much tougher for them than somebody in their 50s or mid-50s because, generally the kids have left home.
Yeah.
Work is turning down a little bit or you're taking on new things that you like to do rather than have to do.
You're absolutely right. It's a really good reminder that the average age of menopause, meaning 12 consecutive months of without your period, is 51 in the Western world. It happens a little bit earlier in Asia and different countries. So when you think about perimenopause being between 5 and 10 years, it's on average about 5 years. Some people say 7. But it could be up to about 10 years, more or less. I've heard women say, I've been perimenopause for 20 years. So it's no surprise that in your mid-30s, that's when most of us start to lose progesterone. And that's when we have mood swings and difficulty sleeping. And those are the first stages of perimenopause. Those are the early stages. So if you're thinking about your mid to late 30s, early 40s, you could very well be just getting pregnant or having toddlers around or very young kids.
I have friends that have babies, late 40s.
Yeah.
So imagine if you're just having a young baby and then you're going into perimenopause. I mean, your whole experience is going to be quite different than somebody who's, got quite grown-up children in the beginning of their 50s.
Yeah.
I mean, that then is going to feel like a whole new episode in your life. But if you're going into it bang, with young kids and you're still working like crazy and 40s, I mean, it must be hell.
Must be. Unless when you had little kids and you were up all the time, feeding them, trying to get them to go to bed, and then exhausted. But I guess if the loss of your progesterone is waking you up at 2 a.m., you're like, well, I guess maybe it coincides.
I wanted a bottle anyway. What's the difference? Yeah, that's if it all regulates at the same time.
If it happens at the same time, yeah. If you finally fall asleep at 4 and then you're
going to decrease it too. So if you want a bottle, could you just come in there?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It'd be nice.
Yeah, that must be really hard. So it's a really good point that you brought up. It depends on the stage. So and there, very often I hear so many women in their late 30s, early 40s, really, really struggling and asking me, is this menopause? Is this perimenopause? Like, I don't expect this to happen for another 10 years. And after some investigation, very often it is, not always. But
I suppose, again, when you're dealing with your clients, you need to ask them, okay, what stage in your life are you at?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Because sometimes stress can just affect your hormones anyway.
Exactly. They're all connected, all connected. So oftentimes I get women who would say, I'm feeling really bad. I can't sleep. My mood swings and I'm depressed. I'm really sad. Is this menopause? And I'll say, well, what's going on in your life? And they say, oh, well, I just got divorced, or my kid just left home, or I'm just lost my job. And I'm like, well, hormones are no hormones. Like, that's depressing. It's a struggle. So it's always a mix.
You mean it's not always the fault of our hormones?
It's not always, but like you said, they can trigger hormonal fluctuations. Stress can trigger hormonal fluctuations, and then the hormonal fluctuations can trigger the stress. So everything's intertwined.
If you have continual stress of it, then you can go into early menopause.
Yeah, exactly. So it may or may not be a time to reinvent yourself, and if not, it'll happen. So the other thing is, we are now in menopause. We can grow our menopause. You didn't know what that word was until I said it. And that means our hormonal or menopause besties. We've kind of gone through some difficult times, or just spending more time with friends, nurturing your network, spending time with meaningful people, and being able to detox from those toxic relationships. We're able to prune that a little bit. And that's also some things with just aging in general, because in gerontology, we studied that as we get closer to death, we want to spend more time. We know we have limited time on this planet.
No, as we're getting closer to death,
we are.
We're just getting on with our fabulous life. We don't have the hormones anymore, but we're not getting closer to death. That's morbid.
I know, but actually, it's a chance to live our life. To looking at death and understand, just realizing we will die one day, helps us live our lives, and so that we get into action.
Some people just get completely stressed about it.
They do, but then when you think about, well, what am I doing with my life? If I only have 10 years, 20 years, 30 years left, I better, there's Gene Cohen is a very famous gerontologist, and he called this phase of life the if not now, then when time. So if I don't do a triathlon by the time I'm 55, that's me, that's my own little dream. When am I going to do it? Am I going to do it when I'm 70? I don't know. Or if I'm going to start a new business, then am I going to start it when I'm 70? No, let's do it now. So it's a time to take action. And because we know that we're probably not going to do it in the next 20 years, or it's less likely. But I think we have so much inspiration now. Some people are
living longer and they're doing things later.
Yeah. And they're doing better. Like when
sometimes when you're younger, you make such ridiculous decisions anyway, so that now maybe you're in a more leveled place in your brain. And maybe it is a good time to do something. Yeah. Maybe that's what it's all about, that reinventing time. You've got more space in your head to think it through.
Exactly. And do it with people you love, like you.
Only with people you love.
Cool. So, sexual rebirth. That is something I've heard. Some women actually have a new sense of sexuality. They have more confidence. They know what they want in the bed now. They're feeling a lot more empowered. I think knowing your body is kind of part of that. And some women even have an increase in libido. What do you think?
Maybe it's just that the house is a bit quieter. You know, well, again,
Yeah,
depending on the person, but yeah, no kids knocking on the door.
Yeah,
Not,
if they're gone.
If they're gone. Just, having more time.
Yeah.
Being more relaxed.
Yeah. I think also now is a time of, if you are feeling more empowered, you know yourself, let's say you've taken that time to dig a little deeper, try to understand yourself and know what you want, using your voice. When you kind of put all this in the mix, when you think about so often, at least I feel women from our generation, our sexual relationships are kind of like what a man wants. Like when you think about even porn is usually made by a man. If we think that's, what sex is all about, we've been doing it like a man. We've been doing it the way the men like it. And I learned from Susan Bratton. Remember, she was in our group. She was in the Energy Reboot program that we launched. She was explaining like, no. Now is your time. And things that I learned from her, when I turned around and on my husband, I was like, okay, my way is a little bit slower. I need a little bit more time to rev up. I just don't feel like doing it really fast right now and do a quickie. I want it me in my time. And he was like, whoa. Why?
I've been doing it like this for 20 years. Why are you changing it now? Because I'm perimenopause.
I have a voice now. I know what I want. And I'm going to tell you what I want. Because the kids are gone.
Think about what I'm making for dinner and how much work I've got to finish.
Yeah.
I think it's just about time.
Yeah.
Time. Yeah. And like you said, just having time to know about what you want.
Yeah.
Because you're always juggling too many things.
Yeah.
Work, family, husband, I don't know, parents, the whole thing. It's them. It's everyone else but yourself.
Yeah. We did mention in our episode that we didn't record that women in their 50s are the sandwich generation. So that means you still have kids at home and you are taking care of aging parents. So this is sort of a shout out for those women who still don't have time and probably won't have it for a while and they're struggling. And these women it's really hard because sometimes they have full-time jobs. They have to quit, or they have to take a part-time role. So they're getting less money, paid less. They're going to have less coming in from Social Security. And so we're taking the brunt of a lot of things that the men generally don't have to do because that's just the way society tends to work. Yes. And it's not really fair. So this is a really, really hard time for those women.
It's like what we were saying, it all depends on your lifestyle of what's happening, what's going on in your particular home. Depending on how you deal with it.
Yeah.
Or what you've got to deal with.
So the next one is freedom from social expectations. And this kind of really goes to those women out there who decided not to have kids. And everyone's asking you day in and day out, when are you going to have a baby? When are you going to get pregnant? When are you going to find a relationship? And then once you hit menopause, those questions disappear, right?
I don't know. If people want to ask questions, they're going to ask, why didn't you have kids? And why didn't you get married? There's always going to be people around. It's just maybe you're at that stage where you've done it. You don't care if they ask you questions anymore because you don't care.
Yeah.
So, because people will always ask.
Yeah, right. You're right. So just don't care. That's the thing. That's the part that sort of ties into my next one, which you are feeling more empowered. So maybe really don't give an F anymore. I think once we get to this stage of life, we've gone through a lot of life's challenges. We've dealt with death and divorce and maybe money loss, and we still are here. We are still fighting. We are still okay. We're still alive. I always say we get to do menopause. It's we get to age. We get to get this
it's
thing.
It's a privilege after all to get there.
Yeah.
So maybe we shouldn't moan about it. We should just embrace it.
Well, yeah, in a way. In our own way.
Through it.
A little bit of gratitude always helps, right? That really helps. So it's that what didn't kill us makes us stronger kind of an attitude. And, I think that's already empowering, something really, really good. And the last one is that we can stop being people pleasers. That was me. I'm still a recovering people pleaser. I still kind of do it. I'm recovering. But I hear from women all the time about this people pleasing thing, because our generation
It's such a
tend to, it's female. Oh yeah, it's most definitely female. Yeah. I mean, we're taught to be a good girl and be quiet and sit in your corner and be nice.
Capable of doing more than one thing at once, so that we do it.
Yeah.
And generally,
yeah.
So, but that's our problem, not theirs.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we have to say no more.
No more. The only person to please is yourself. At least yourself first, right?
First. And then the rest.
Exactly.
Forever.
Oh, well, that's it, guys. I hope you got inspired. I hope you learned something new. I hope you feel proud and excited that you get to go into menopause. It's really definitely good on the other side. I've heard it way too many times. Laurie, it's good, right?
It's great.
Yeah, you like being...
Now, after going through all of these, there are a lot of benefits. Yeah. When you first said to me about it, I was thinking, so much on around But actually, when you talk about it, there are a lot.
Yeah. Let's focus on the positive side. There's always a silver lining, right? So if you guys like this episode and you want me to interview or just chat with more of my besties or sit down with somebody, let me know. It's a very different format. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's, you can see us kind of in a home setting, and this is really where I am and my friend, this is my life. So let me know what you think in the comments or send me a message. I'd love to hear. And if you have any other ideas of topics that we should discuss, let me know. So have a good day, good night, good morning, wherever you're at. And thank you so much, Laurie, for spending time with me.